All right, guys. All right, I hope you guys can hear me. Okay, so for this video, this is another video I'm shooting today. Let's talk about two-step equations. And what I'm going to do, this will be a little messy, so I am going to switch over to another sheet of paper. But there is a worksheet that is uploaded in the folders for each individual section or whatever class you're a part of, but go to your Math Algebra 1 tile, look under Files, and then there's a particular folder that's called Unit 1 Additional Practice or Student Additional Practice, and in there are some more worksheets that you can work on skills to be prepared for the exam on September 3rd. But look for the one that says two-step equations, and this video is called two-step equations. So I'm going to pull a couple of problems directly off of that worksheet. And then I'm also going to make up a couple of more on my own. All right, so here we go. And rule of thumb is there are on that worksheet, I want to say 30 questions. I'm not going to do every single one. So maybe today I'll just do the evens, as many of them as I can. And then you may do the odds. Remember that in that worksheet or in that folder, if you scroll to the last 2 pages, it will have the solutions for these problems, okay? So let's look at number 2. All right, so number 2 says -6 plus x over 4 is equal to -5. And so the first thing that I'm looking at in this particular problem is, I see the title's 2 steps. I need to do 2 steps. So first, let's identify what operations are happening, and then identify what the inverse operations would be. So the way I'm looking at this is x, that's who I'm solving for. X is being divided by 4. So as soon as I say, oh, you're being divided by 4, I know one of the inverse operations should do with multiplication. Okay? This is how I'm teaching it. And then I notice, oh, x is being divided by 4, and then this -6 is being added to it, right? So the tricky part with this one is, oh, Miss Mosey, I see addition, so I should do subtraction. But remember, if I want to move that number away to the right side, I'm going to have to do addition. So let me say that very carefully. X is being divided by 4. There's no mistaking that. We have to do opposite of division is multiplication. But then I say -6 is being added to this situation here. So it's not about the addition. It's because of the constant being negative. I got to do addition. Okay, addition, not subtraction. So let's just get into this. I believe that we should do addition. So now walk through with me and let's see. So the first thing, like I've said before, we've talked about PEMDAS, which was solving order of operations with expressions, but when we do equations, we want to go this way, bottom up, okay? That's what I was saying in class, is that equations get solved from subtraction, addition, then division, multiplication, then exponents, parentheses. So the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to do my addition, subtraction, and I said I need to do addition. So I'm going to take that -6 and do a +6. And I'm moving it over to the right side of the equal sign. So I'm going to add 6 here. Bam. Okay. And where that will leave me at, drop this down. Always drop your steps and your terms down. Okay. So this is now a 0. It's not there. So I'm just going to put x minus 4. That's what's on the left side. I'm going to subtract this. Keep the sign of the bigger number. This is a 1. And now I'm looking again and saying x is being divided by 4. So I have to multiply. See, by 4 to both sides. The answer is x equals 4. Pretty straightforward there, okay? Now the next thing is we could plug it back in and do our prove and disprove. So if we do 4 divided by 4, 4 divided by 4 is 1. -6 plus 1, right? -6 plus 1 is -5, all right? So I didn't show it, but I just talked you through it. Let's move on to number 4. For number 4, I think this was pretty straightforward, but it says 0 equals 4 plus n over 5. Sorry about that. Okay, so to solve this one, what's happening to n? It's being divided by 5. So that means if I hear C division, the inverse operation is multiplication, multiplication. And then again, it's n is being divided by 5, and then this is okay because this is not a negative, and 4 is being added to it, not a negative 4, a positive 4. So I know I want to do subtraction. And again, we want to do the addition and subtraction first, and then do the multiplication and division second. So this comes first, and these two come second. All right, here we go. So now I'm going to subtract 4 to both sides. And now I have 0 minus 4, which is negative 4, equals n over 5. And then again, opposite of division is multiplication. So I'm going to times 5 times 5. That cancels out. So the final solution is negative 20 is equal to n. All right, so I hope that was okay. And I'm going to just jump around. 1 second. All right, we're back. All right, let's continue on. I'm going to jump around. So let's look at number 6. So we'll keep going in order just because of the way certain ones look. So this is number 6 off the worksheet. This is negative 1 equals 5 plus x over 6. All right, so now this is one of the ones that's very interesting. So I want to maybe highlight this whole problem. Okay, because this is the one that breaks the rule. Okay, so I want to be very clear. This one is the exception. And when I say he's the exception, is because you do not do the addition and subtraction first. Okay, in this case, we're going to do multiplication or division first. Why is that? Because look at your numerator. Okay, because you have that 5 plus x, some stuff is going on in the numerator, and then down below us, right, is this 6. So there's no possible way that if we're like on a seesaw, right, and it's balanced out, you know, if this guy jumps off, you know, basically everything's going to go this way, and then there'll be all this chaos. Maybe the x gets hurt. I'm just making up a small story here. But you just don't want to mess with this little balance beam at the top, okay? You have to get rid of that 6. That's an easier thing to get rid of instead of subtracting that 5 away. So in this case, you see the division bar. You're going to do multiplication first. Again, this is the exception. So we're going to times 6. What we do to one side, do to the other, times 6. So this 6 is gone on this side. And now what we have here is 6 times negative 1 is negative 6 equals, and then look, nice and linear, super easy, right? And then we say what's happening to x. 5, a positive 5 is being added to it, so we have to do subtraction. Cancels out. I promise you, if you watch these videos, if you take your time, if you give this 30 minutes a day, maybe 2-3 days a week, nothing major, and you spend time with this subject, you will get better with it. Okay, so again, what did I say? This is rule number 2. We're going to add and keep the negative sign. The answer is negative 11. That's that for number 6. All right, we're going to keep going. Let's go to number 12. So I'm skipping down to number 12. I'm only going to do about 8 or 10 problems in this video. Short and sweet. So what if we had 144 equals? Now, the cool thing about this one, it's a negative 12, and inside it's x plus 5. All right, so this is, again, still a 2-step. I feel like this one's actually more than 2 steps because we got to do the distributive property. But remember, anytime you see a number in front of a parentheses, you need to draw those arrows and tell yourself that this negative 12 or whatever the sign and the value or number in front of the parentheses is, it has to multiply by each individual term. You cannot add these. All right, you can't just multiply by one and not the other. These guys are basically act like they're in prison or they're, you know, caged up together. This guy is going to free them out by magnifying them. So when you see the arrows, think about multiply. Okay, multiply each term. And then again, mathematically, you need to understand this is the distributive property, dp. All right, so I'm going to highlight the negative 12, highlight those arrows, and I have to do that first. Okay, so now negative 12 times x is negative 12x. Negative 12 times 5 is negative 60. Don't forget about the 144 on the left side. And now we have something nice and linear because our terms are right next to each other. So of course usually I like to tell you guys, right? Letters left, numbers right. So here's one of the ones where this doesn't really work because the only x term, he's over here on the right. So we don't have to move him, just leave him there. Move your number, in this case, to the left. Okay, so he's isolated by himself. So we're going to add 60. Add 60. Now we have negative 12x is equal to, and then I believe this is 204. Okay, and then we just divide. Remember, not by 12, but negative 12 to both sides. Cancels out. And then we know a positive divided by a negative is going to be a negative. But how many times does negative 12 go into that 204? I'm just going to kind of hesitate for a second so you guys can do that. And you should have got negative 17. Use your calculator if you need to. And that takes care of number 12. All right, so now I'm going to go to the next page. I'm only working on the evens. Okay, so, oh man, this is not the page for the, okay, I'm going to make up a couple more then. I have misplaced, well first let's do this because I just want y'all to see where this is. Give me a second. Can I go to the folder? I know this is, here it is, 2-step. Again, that's what the folder should look like. So let's grab a couple off of here. Here's page number 2 because I've misplaced it. So I'm going to also do number 16. You can take a moment to write that down. Number 16. Let's also, I'm trying to see it looks scary. Let's do number 20. I like that one. Just writing them on a paper and then I'll go back to my camera. And then let's go to 24 and that'll be the last one I'll do. And then you guys work on the odds and whatever else is missing if you need to. Okay, here we go. All right, and also just to, in this video, not to make it too long, is I just want to show y'all where it is, just so no one can say they didn't know where to find it. So remember, I think students have showed me, they go into these colored tiles. So let's go to this purple one. And if you go to Files, and you look here, when this loads, right there, this is where I'm getting these worksheets to shoot the videos from. So again, I've done 1 step, we're on 2-step. I will also upload a multi-step, and I think I'm going to do one of these 2. Okay, we are not doing literal equations. All right, so let's go back and do these 3 problems. Okay, so here's number 16. So the first step, of course, is what's happening to x. Well, this x is being, remember when they're right next to each other, you guys, it's multiplication. It's being multiplied by negative 9. And then 13 is being subtracted away from it. All right? So again, x is being what? Multiplied by negative 9. So that means I know I need division as an inverse operation. And then 13 is being subtracted away. Opposite of subtraction is addition. So I think the 2 steps I need to do is division and addition. And who do I do first? I do the addition because I got to move my constant over to the right. And in the PEMDAS, S and A go first. So I'm going to add 13. Add 13. On the left is a negative 9x. And then, of course, if this is a negative and this is a positive, I'm going to subtract, keep the sign of the bigger number. So my answer is going to be negative. And if I subtract this, this would give me 0 I'll borrow. This will become a 10. So this will be 90, negative 90. And then, of course, I've taken care of addition. Now it's time to do division. I'm dividing by negative 9 to both sides. And the final answer is x equals 2. A negative divided by a negative is a positive 10. All right, that's 16. Now let's look at the next one. For this one, what is happening to m? M is being divided by 9, and 1 is being subtracted away. Okay, so I see division. I'm going to think about multiplication as my inverse operation. I see subtraction, so I want to do addition as my inverse operation. So let's add 1 to both sides. So when we subtract, that's negative 1. Keep the sign of the bigger number. And we've taken care of addition. For the multiplication, we're timesing by 9 to both sides. So I hope this is getting easier. The final answer is m equals negative 9. Easy, easy, easy. All right, last one. Your mind should tell you, because you're so smart, that, hey, I see that negative 9 preceding or in front of the parentheses. So your mind needs to tell you, ooh, I got to do distributive property first. So we're going to multiply that negative 9 to each term. Okay, we're doing the distributive property. That's dp. What does that mean? To multiply each term. Okay, so we're going to drop down this negative 243 equals negative 9 times 10 is negative 90. Negative 9 times x marries the x. We get a negative 9x. Be careful. Remember, a negative times a positive is a negative, and negative 9 times that 1x, negative 9x. Okay? And now we ask ourselves, okay, now we're back into two-step, you see? So in this case, remember the x is already on the right side. You don't have to move him to the left side because he's the only one over here, so leave him alone. Move that 90 to the left. So we're adding 90, adding 90. And again, I know that I'm going to subtract and keep the sign of the bigger number. So if I subtract that 243 minus 90 is going to be a negative 153. And then there's a negative 9x. And then we're going to divide by that negative 9 to both sides. And a negative divided by a negative is a positive. So basically our answer is positive 17 is equal to x. All right, so that concludes this video. Hopefully you were able to pause and stop where you needed to. Make sure if you have any questions, come see me. All right, and I'm going on to make the next video.